Okay, Monday Night Football. It's the Washington Commanders struggling at 3-4, heading to Kansas City to play the red-hot Chiefs, who are 4-3. It feels like a must-win for Washington, and I love these back-against-the-wall scenarios. Let's get into this one. This Top of Mind is brought to you by Chevrolet. Football season is here. And whether you're grinding through the week or gearing up for kickoff, there's one ride that's always game ready, the Chevy Silverado. Built for the hustle, ready for the game. Silverado is America's most dependable full-size truck. Head to Chevy.com to learn more and build your own Chevy Silverado. Okay, Monday Night Football. It's the 3-4 Washington Commanders heading to Arrowhead to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid, head coach of the Chiefs, he's 8-3 in his last 11 Monday Night Football games, going up against Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn has the Commanders 2-0 against the AFC West. They went out to L.A. and pounded Malisack's Chargers 27-10, and they also pounded my Raiders 41-24. Coach Quinn's Commanders are 0-1 this year. They lost on Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago to the Chicago Bears. The Commanders are a slow starting team this year. They got to wake up, man. They've been outscored 53-22 in the first quarter, and I don't think that's going to cut it against the red-hot Chiefs. When the schedule came out, this was supposed to be a Super Bowl preview, you know? The Chiefs were the #1 seed in the AFC last year, and the Washington Commanders went to the NFC Championship game. So far, it looks like Washington is going to be home in January, but the Chiefs look like a team that could very well get to their 4th straight Super Bowl. It was also supposed to be a matchup of last year's Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels, against Pat Mahomes, perhaps the best quarterback in football. Daniels is out of the game. It's going to be Marcus Mariota, the 31-year-old backup. He's capable of making plays, but he's going to have his hands full. Kansas City has really looked good the last 2 weeks. A convincing 30-17 win against the Detroit Lions, and they followed it up with a pummeling of the Las Vegas Raiders. They beat my Raiders 31-0. I don't even think the Raiders had a handful of first downs. It was a convincing victory, and Kansas City was on fire in all 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams. The Washington Commanders have lost 2 in a row. A heartbreaking 25-24 loss on Monday Night Football at home against the Bears. They fumbled the ball late in the game, and then they got manhandled by their arch rival Dallas Cowboys 44-22. They gave up 409 yards. It was an ugly performance. And when you look at it, there were penalties, dropped passes, blown coverages, blown assignments, and missed tackles, and it was ugly. And I know Coach Quinn well enough to know there could be changes in the scheme. There could be changes in the lineup. They've got to do something to stop the bleeding and find a way to win a game. And I know Coach Quinn is always pretty good when his back is against the wall, so I expect him to have his Commanders fighting and ready to go in this one. To me, this is a must-win for Washington because of the state of the NFC. I mean, there's 12 teams in the NFC that have a 500 record or better. The Washington Commanders, the Arizona Cardinals, and the New York Giants are the only teams below 500. And if Washington loses to the Chiefs, good Lord, they fall to 3-5, and they got to go play Seattle and Detroit in the next 2 weeks. So there is some must-win feel right now in that Washington locker room. You know, when I look at the Commanders, their general manager, Adam Peters, what a job he did last year putting together a team that went all the way to the NFC Championship game. He has a tough job because what do? Do you keep on with your long-term building plan around your 24-year-old quarterback, Jaden Daniels, or do you say, hey, man, we almost got to the Super Bowl. Let's get a couple acquisitions and win it. Well, they went out and added a lot of veteran players. I mean, Deebo Samuel, Laramie Tunsil, Von Miller, Dietrich Wise. They brought in a lot of veteran players to try to push the Commanders over the top. But injuries have really taken their toll, and right now Washington, man, they are just fighting to stay alive. The Kansas City Chiefs, they are humming in all 3 phases. You know, when Mahomes started to play in the NFL, there was a 4 or 5 year period where they had the best offense in the league. Number 1 scoring, number 1 total offense. And while Kansas City was starting their dynasty, their defense was about 16th, right in the middle of the pack. And then the last couple years, the offense fell off. They were just hanging on there. They were finding ways to get first downs and score points and win. And the Chief defense helped carry them to world championships and Super Bowls. Well, this is the first time they got a can of whoop ass on offense and defense. When Mahomes and the offense come out there, they're putting it together. They can run it, they can throw it, they got balance. And defensively, man, have they looked convincing in the last 2 weeks. So this is a well-rounded Chief team that's healthy for the most part, and they're getting ready to make a run, it looks like. Kansas City has a distinct advantage at home. They're 13-1 in the last couple seasons, including 2 playoff wins. Their only loss was week 2 this year to the Philadelphia Eagles. Remember that red zone tip pass? They could have had that game too. But they're very, very dominant at home. Washington is just 1-3 on the road this year. These 2 teams, it's funny, they've been around a long time. They've only played 11 times in their history. Kansas City's won 10 out of 11. Do you know that, Jake? 10 out of 11 go to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Washington Redskins football team, now Commanders, are all-time 0-5 in Arrowhead. They've never won in Kansas City. They might like the barbecue, but they damn sure haven't done very well at Arrowhead. I looked this up for you. The only time the Washington, whatever you want to call them, beat Kansas City, it was 1983 at FedEx Field. The great Joe Gibbs got 2 touchdown passes from Joe Theismann. Believe it or not, the diesel John Riggins rambled in for another touchdown. And Kansas City quarterback Bill Kenney, if you remember him, he got sacked 5 times in his second half and threw 2 picks. And the Kansas City Chiefs lost to Washington 27-12. Head coach Joe Gibbs beat John Malkovich of the Chiefs. How's that? In 1983, you know what the number 1 song was, Jake?
What?
Every breath you take, every whatever, what does the song go like? It was Every Breath You Take by the Police. But the big album was that Michael Jackson thing. Remember Billie Jean, that guy moonwalking, Michael Jackson? Beat it! Remember that song? I love Michael Jackson. Anyways, that was 1983. It's been a while since the Washington football team Commander Redskins have beaten the Chiefs. Pat Mahomes versus Marcus Mariota. When you look at Mahomes, we can talk about all of his accolades for hours. But in the last 4 games, he's playing great football. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs are averaging 31.5 points, and Mahomes, he's thrown for 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. He's thrown for an average of 270 a game. He's thrown 3 touchdown passes in 3 out of the 4 games. He's playing great, and he's playing with great confidence, and that's a problem for everybody. Last week against the Raiders, he won his 93rd regular season game. He passed Peyton Manning for the most regular season victories before the age of 31. Mahomes just turned 30 a couple weeks ago, man. This guy's got a lot of football left in him. Must be nice to be a Chiefs fan. Jaden Daniels, he's already missed 2 games. He got hurt in that Cowboy game. Fortunately, the MRI came back. It looks negative. It's not a real serious hamstring. But I think there are some concerns now about Daniels' durability. He's slight. He's not the biggest quarterback, and he runs a lot, man. And these injuries are big concerns in the long run in his career. We got to get him back out here. We got to keep this man healthy. But at least the MRI came back negative. Marcus Mariota, one of my former players, he's already started 2 games for the Commanders, and he has put points on the board and looked good. He's got 426 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's a dual threat. He's carried the ball 10 times for 94 yards. You know, the last time Marcus Mariota started a game in Arrowhead, he played for the Tennessee Titans. And they were down 21-3. It was a playoff game. And they were losing, and it did not look good. I was broadcasting the game. It was my last broadcast for Monday Night Football, that crew. Anyways, Mariota throws 3 touchdown passes in the second half, one of them to himself. He threw a pass, it bounced off some guy's head, he caught it and ran it in for a touchdown. Probably the highlight of Marcus Mariota's career was bringing the Titans back to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. His career slowed down a little bit after that. He lost his job to Tannehill. He moved on. We picked him up at the Raiders. He's been battling injuries. He was getting himself back in shape. And then after a couple years of the Raiders, he took off and he went to the Atlanta Falcons, where he started 13 games for Arthur Smith. Then he went to the Philadelphia Eagles, was a backup for a couple years. Now here he is in Washington, playing for Cliff Kingsbury, an offensive scheme that has really rejuvenated him. And the guy can play and make all the plays in this system. So it'll be exciting to see how Mariota goes up against Pat Mahomes in a place where the Commanders have never won. Kansas City is playing very clean football. They've only turned the ball over twice. And unfortunately for the Commanders, under Dan Quinn, the Commanders have only taken the ball away 3 times. And I think that's going to be a critical fact in this game, the turnover ratio. Right now, the Chiefs are +5. They're 5th in the league. And the Commanders are -5. That's 25th in the league. The turnover margin has got to sway the other way, I think, for the Commanders to have a chance in this football game. We do have the return of some great receivers in this game. Last week, Rashee Rice came back for the Kansas City Chiefs. 2 years ago, after 3 games, Rashee Rice led the NFL with 24 catches, and he was the man, 2nd in the league in yards. He came back last week, and Mahomes threw him 2 touchdown passes. He wears number 4. He's a badass. He's back for Kansas City. And finally, for the Washington Commanders, they get Terry McLaurin back, 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and they get Deebo Samuel back. That should give Mariota and Cliff Kingsbury some punch, man, and a chance to make some big plays against the Chiefs. So keep an eye on these receivers who are back in the fold on both teams. The kickers in this game, Matt Gay of the Washington Commanders came over from Indianapolis. He has struggled. He's missed 4 kicks. He's 10 for 14, 18 for 18 on PATs. And Harrison Butker for the Chiefs, one of the best kickers in the league the last several seasons, surprisingly has struggled. He's missed 6 kicks, 3 PATs and 3 field goals. So the kicking part of this is very, very interesting. Both of these men are going to be relied on to make big kicks in this one. The injury list has some key names on it. The Kansas City Chiefs on the offensive line have been missing their left tackle, Josh Simmons, their first-round pick from Ohio State. This will be the 3rd game Simmons misses. He's having some personal issues he's taken care of, so he's out. And right guard, Pro Bowler Trey Smith tweaked his back last week. It doesn't look like he's going to play at right guard. So those are 2 big issues for the Chiefs on the offensive line. Kareem Hunt at running back, Jawan Taylor, their starting right tackle, got nicked up last week, but it appears both of those guys are going to play. And for the Commanders, obviously Jaden Daniels is out with the hamstring. Deron Payne is the guy you got to keep an eye on. Number 94, their best defensive lineman right now. He got beat up a little bit against the Cowboys. He's questionable. Matt Gay, the kicker, the guy we just talked about, he has a sore back. He's questionable. Dorrance Armstrong, who leads the Commanders in sacks with 5.5, got hurt against the Cowboys. Unfortunately for them, he's out for the season. And we welcome the return of Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuels. That's going to be a huge addition for the Commanders. Let's get into the game. This offense-defense matchup is brought to you by Fox 1. On Fox 1, you can stream your favorite live sports. So you never miss that. Did you see that moment? It's NFL Sundays, all streaming live, the way it was meant to be watched. It's also the best way to stay locked in on your action. Whether you're sweating your fantasy matchup, tracking a parlay, or riding the chaos live as it happens. I hate watching things on delay. I gotta see it live. Start your 7-day free trial today. Offers are subject to change. Go to Fox 1 for complete terms and conditions. Okay, this Kansas City Chief offense against the Washington Commander defense, right now it looks like a mismatch, but that's why they play the games. Offensive coordinator Matt Nagy, what a terrific job he's doing. He and head coach Andy Reid have got a lot of players involved, and they have balance. They also have one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen. He might be the best. Anyways, they're playing great football. They're piling up points, 26.6 points a game. They're piling up yards, over 370 a game. And they're piling up time of possession, man. Over 32 minutes a clock. And that really helps the Kansas City defense stay fresh for that fourth quarter pass rush. They're doing a hell of a job finishing drives. They've got 10 drives of 75 yards or more for a touchdown. I mean, they took that ball against the Raiders last week, 16 plays, 17 plays, 94 yards, 93-yard drives, time-consuming, high execution, very professional work by the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody's healthy now. We talked about Rashee Rice coming back. You look at JoJo Smith-Schuster. They got Xavier Worthy. How about Travis Kelce? They got 3 running backs now. You keep an eye on Pacheco, Kareem Hunt. Better keep an eye on Brashard Smith, this rookie they got. This Brashard Smith guy, he's carving out a role for himself. Then you keep looking around. Hollywood Brown leads the team in catches. Who the hell's Tyquan Thornton? This guy averages 20 yards a grab. Matt Nagy, Andy Reid, they've done a magnificent job involving everybody. But now with Rice back, are there enough balls to go around to all these guys? I don't know. That's a tough job. You know, you come in there, all these guys are like, hey, what do you got for me? What do you got for me? So that'll be cool to see if these guys can remain unselfish. It's been a credit to Andy Reid and the way he's established that over the years. Statistically, they're balanced. When you can score 6th in the league and you have the 12th ranked rushing attack and the 6th ranked passing attack, you can attack a defense in many different ways. Anything goes right now with Andy Reid. You see it all, especially in short yardage and goal line. I saw a T formation, a full house. They bring in an extra tackle at tight end. They can play 11 personnel with 3 receivers. They can play 12 with 2 tight ends and 2 receivers. Hell, they'll come out with 13. You don't know what Andy Reid is going to do, and that's the beauty of it. They got a lot of experienced, versatile, unselfish players that played their ass off and play good together. It's a very detailed system, and you can see the details just in how they substitute. I mean, they'll bring in 3 guys at a time. They'll substitute 2 guys here, 4 guys there. It's a very, very incredible flow of traffic. They communicate the changes. They line up. They don't commit penalties and turnovers. They're doing a hell of a job playing disciplined football. And their help system. Last week, they throw a deep cross for a 35-yard gain to Kelce. Scramble, he's wide open, great play by Mahomes. But it's the chip system. I mean, you watch what they do to Max Crosby. They chip him with the tight end. They chip him with the back. And then the uncovered lineman comes out, kaboom! He finishes them off, man. They help on both sides. They've really done an excellent job improving their pass protection. Certainly they have a new left tackle, but they've done an excellent job with their help system and the details of their pass protection. And man, does it show. We talked about versatility, but what I mean by that is you got guys that can do a lot of things. The slot receiver in a professional pass offense is a tough position to play. You got to run middle read, choice routes. You got to run all kind of different patterns. You got to be able to block. You got to be able to do a number of different things against man coverage, split safety coverages, recognizing man and zone, being a hot receiver against blitz. You just don't put any man in the slot. You got to have a guy that's reliable. Well, shit. I watched the Chiefs. They put Rashee Rice in there last week. He runs an option route against Devin White. I said, put that on a highlight reel. Might be the best option route you'll ever see. Then you see Kelce go in the slot. It's like automatic. They put Noah Gray in there. They put Smith-Schuster in there. They put Thornton in there to blur the screen. They put X-Worthy in there. He'll fly across the formation. They got so many guys that can do so many different jobs at a high level, hard to defend. And you don't have any tendencies. You just can't get a beat on these guys. God dang, Andy Reid. Pat Mahomes. What is different about Pat Mahomes? Ask me, Jake.
What is it?
Well, Mahomes, I think sometimes the more you play, this is just my opinion, you can become too smart. You can really, you can be too experienced. He could probably say I'm guilty of that. I think now what Mahomes is doing a great job of, instead of looking at a play and saying, this is not the coverage for that play, I'm just going to check it down. Oh, we didn't get the coverage I want, I'm just going to check it down. Now he says, hell with it. I'm going through my reads, man, and I'm going to stay with my read. I don't care what the coverage is. He's number one, I'm staying with him. He's number two, I'm staying with it, and that's number three. And now he's realizing, I think, that defenses, they sure blow a lot of coverages because he's staying true to every progression and he's making more tight window throws than I've seen him make in the last couple years. That's how good he is. He's not predetermining, hey, I'll just check it down because I didn't get the coverage I want. Screw it. I'm going to stay in here. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to manipulate the coverage with my eyes and shoulders, and I'm going to throw some darts in between tight windows. That's what I'm seeing, and I freaking love it. He's also got a lot more trust, I think, in his receivers. And he's giving them a chance to make plays. He'll throw up the 50-50 ball because I think he believes that they won't let it be intercepted. They'll catch it or it'll be incomplete and we'll live for another day. He trusts his offensive line. And when you talk about these tight window throws, hell, 13-14% of his completions are in tight windows as much as anybody in the league. I love this. The other two things that jump off the film is Pat Mahomes is still getting rid of it quick. A lot of his completions are those RPOs, you know. They're running plays, and he ain't handed it unless it's a premier look. He'll pull it out of there and throw a built-in pass option, run, pass option. And that ball comes out quick. I don't even think he gets the laces half the time. He just flips it out there like a dead fish. Shoo! He's got it in somebody's hand, and off they go. They throw a lot of quick passes, and who do you think leads the NFL in scramble rushing attempts? Pat Mahomes. He's carried the ball 33 times for almost 250 yards when he just scrambles. So if there's nothing there, he makes something positive happen. Only 2 interceptions. The guy's been incredible with the football, and he doesn't fumble it. Credit to him. What I love about the Chiefs this year is they got the 12th ranked rushing game. And they're getting a lot of production recently from Isaiah Pacheco. He had 57 yards last week. I love Pacheco because the way he runs. He runs like every run's the last run of his life. I mean, you can hear him. He's just a tough dude, man. And Kareem Hunt, what a badass. I mean, do you know Kareem Hunt has more carries on 4th down than he does on 2nd down? It's almost like it's 4th and Kareem Hunt. The guy is a freaking great short yardage goal line back. He has vision, great decisiveness, pad level, moves the pile. He's a hell of a back. But Pacheco and Hunt both have distinctly different roles. We already said Mahomes has rushed for over 250 yards. That's 3 guys that can carry it. And I'm telling you, it says right there, Clay, watch out for Brashad Smith. Fantasy football people out there. Here's a guy that plays for the Miami Hurricanes. He's a wide receiver, you know. Then he transfers to SMU and he becomes a running back. And he has like 1,300 yards rushing. Andy Reid saw that. He says, hey, let's take him in the 7th round. Guess who had 81 yards last week, rushing and receiving? What's his name, Clay?
Brashard Smith.
Brashard Smith, man, number 24. They give him creative screens. I'm telling you, these 3 backs give Andy Reid the 12th ranked rushing attack, and now the play action pass gets more sting. They're a viable threat to run it. He's also going for it a lot on 4th down. Andy Reid is 12 for 15. That's 4th best in the league, 80%. He went for it in some critical situations that really turned that Lion game around. So he's very aggressive. We've talked about the ball distribution. They had 9 different receivers last week against the Raiders. It's the 2nd time this year Mahomes has done that. They use all eligible receivers. It's a credit to the unselfishness and to the offensive staff for getting everybody involved. Let's take a look at the Commander defense. Defensive coordinator Joe Witt. The biggest struggle they have had, well, they've had a lot of struggles, to be honest with you, but they're just not taking the ball away. Only 3 takeaways. Sainer still, their nickel corner, has 2 interceptions. He's the only guy that has interceptions. But Dan Quinn, notorious for getting the ball away. They haven't been able to do it this year. And they're struggling in every defensive level right now. They're 21st in scoring, 27th in total, 21st against the run, and 25th against the pass. And they're leaking oil right now when I look at the tape. The injuries on the defensive line are a big concern. They lost Dietrich Wise. He got hurt against Green Bay, good defensive end. And now you lose Dorrance Armstrong, your best pass rusher. 5.5 sacks. He's out for the year. So does Dan Quinn uncharacteristically blitz a lot more because he needs to get pressure? I think we got to be alert for that. I think the Commanders are going to have to do something different to try to get some pressure, try to generate some turnovers. You know, looking at statistics, Pat Mahomes' numbers against the blitz, 5 or more blitzers, is not as good. 55% completion percentage, that's 26th. He's got an 82 QBR, that's 25th. So you start thinking about those numbers, you think about the lack of defensive ends that we have due to injury. Perhaps we come up with some unscouted blitzes that they haven't seen before, and we unveil them for Gruden and the guys back at the FFCA on Monday Night Football. Let's freaking go, man. The reality is the Commanders have showed major issues, negative things on tape lately. I mean, coverage. We've had some blown coverages on the back end. Tackling has been inconsistent. The pass rush, not good enough. We talked about the takeaways. Last week, the Cowboys, 409 yards of offense. They had almost 300 at halftime. They put it on cruise control in the fourth quarter. 7 different scoring drives for the Dallas Cowboys last week. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, almost 200 yards receiving, and they averaged over 20 yards a catch, both of them. They got down the field. They hurt them after the catch. It was ugly. So what do? What will Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator Joe Witt, do? There's 2 things you can do. You can make changes in your scheme like I talked about, perhaps a few new blitzes. Or do you change some people in the lineup? Put some other players in, see if they can't get better results. Competition sometimes is the best teacher. The secondary has not lived up to expectations. When they lost safety man Will Harris, it really hurt Washington big time. Will Harris came over from New Orleans, a good coverage safety. Then they insert Jeremy Reeves. No disrespect, but he was a full-time special teams player, only played 4 snaps of defense 2 years ago. Now he's a starting safety. They went out and signed Darnell Savage, the ex-Green Bay Packer, ex-Jacksonville Jaguar. They're trying to mix some other people in there, but this secondary, wow, too many blown coverages. I mean, they're 30th in the league. Think about this. 8.3 yards per pass. That's a lot of yards. And 13 yards per completion. They're getting gashed, man. We've seen a lot of different players go over 100 yards. 3 different receivers, Drake London, CeeDee Lamb, Trey Tucker, all over 100-yard days against the Commanders. Tucker Kraft of the Packers, a tight end, ripped them. Bijan Robinson had over 100 coming out of the backfield. So they've been hurt and hurt bad with the forward pass. 54 plays of over 15 yards. Something's wrong. They got to get some corrections. 8 passes of plus 40, and guess who they're facing tonight? Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. Woo! That could be scary. The hard part is the rushing defense isn't much better. In the last 4 games, they've given up 145 yards a game, almost 5 yards a clip. Where they have been hurt the worst is in the slot. Whoever is in the slot has had a lot of success against the Washington Commanders. And you could say Mike Sainristil still is at fault because he plays in there most of the time. Hell, sometimes you bump out a linebacker. Sometimes corners come over, and it's a corner cover in the slot. Bottom line is 92 yards a game have come from the slot. 9.8 yards per pass in the slot. And 262 yards after the catch has come from the slot. And as I said earlier, Andy Reid's going to put his best guys in the slot, and they can all do different things at a high level. Let's get into the matchups. For the Kansas City Chiefs, everybody should circle the left tackle. It's Jalen Moore now, the ex-San Francisco 49er, ex-Western Michigan football player, number 77. He's done a nice job the last 2 weeks for Josh Simmons. He is the left tackle. Kingsley Suamataia stays at left guard. He has gotten better and better and better. And playing with Jalen Moore instead of Josh Simmons doesn't look like it bothers him one bit. Creed Humphrey, to me, is the best center in football. The best pass protector, clearly, in one-on-one situations. Good run blocker, very smart. He and Mahomes, they can direct traffic with some of the all-time greats. Trey Smith at right guard, out of the game. I think he's out of the game. And it'll be Mike Caliendo, another Western Michigan guy. Can you imagine that? Two guys from Western Michigan starting for Andy Heck, the offensive line coach of the Chiefs. Caliendo started 3 games last year in the regular season. He started 3 postseason games when they moved Joe Tooney to left tackle. You guys seem to remember that, don't you? So Caliendo, he's a lot more than just some pinch hitter. He's a damn good player. Right tackle Jawan Taylor looks like he's going to play. He got beat up a little bit. He has had some penalties. It'll be interesting to see if he can play the entirety of this game. If not, it'll be Wanya Morris, number 64. But the Chiefs do have some injuries on the O-line. Defensively, with the injuries to Armstrong, Dietrich Wise, you got to keep an eye on Von Miller. He's wearing number 24. He's got 4 sacks. You got to expect his play percentage to go up. They're going to need a lot from Von Miller. He's been a big part of this rivalry, Broncos, Chiefs. He's seen a lot of big moments against these Kansas City Chiefs. But keep an eye on Von Miller. They also have Jacob Martin. He's in his first year, veteran free agent acquisition. He's got a sack and a half. He had a sack last week called back because he went in too high against Prescott. But 55 Martin, 24 Miller got to play their ass off. They are depleted out there, so they signed Preston Smith. Remember him? He played a lot for Washington, even when my brother was the head coach. He's back wearing number 52. You'll see him on the edge as well. And they also signed Jalen Holmes. They re-signed Holmes, who was released earlier, so they do have some backup players. Inside, I love Deron Payne. He batted 3 balls down last week against the Cowboys. You got to have some fast twitch muscles to do that. He had a tackle for loss that resulted in a safety. He leads the D-line in tackles. Doesn't have the sack production that got him that big contract a couple years ago, but he's still a hell of a player. You're going to see Javon Kinlaw, number 99. You won't miss him. He might be the biggest guy in the league. He looks the part, man. They got to get a lot more from Kinlaw. I thought his pad level was high last week. I thought he got knocked off the ball. No sacks, 14 tackles. They got to get a lot more from Kinlaw against Caliendo and company. They got to play better inside. And I'm waiting for this Jerzon Newton guy, number 95, second-year guy, second-round pick. I just don't feel him at all. He doesn't look like the player he's supposed to be. Come on, Jerzon. We need you, man. Let's go. He's got to get more done. Eddie Goldman, another veteran. He comes in their base defense. He'll play the nose position. These big guys got to play big and play great for Washington to have a chance in this one. We talked about the running backs of the Kansas City Chiefs. Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and Brashard Smith. They're going to use them all. Sometimes they get into a rocket backfield set. They'll use 2 at a time. When 24 Smith comes in the game, get off your couch and say, watch the screen, watch the toss. Something's happened. 24 is in there. I'm just telling you. Pacheco, very good pass protector. I said I believe Washington's going to blitz more to make something happen. Pacheco had 2 nice pickups last week against the Raiders, but he got shocked by Jamal Adams and gave up a sack. So we got to be tight now with the pass protection because I do think the Commanders are coming. They do have 2 very good linebackers, veteran linebackers. And I know Bobby Wagner's 35 years old. I know he struggles at times in coverage. But guess what? He's second in the NFL with 73 tackles. I don't think he ever gets a drink or comes off the field either. 73 tackles. He's got 2 sacks. He's closing in on his 14th straight season with over 100 tackles. Is that something or what? Hell yes. The other linebacker is number 4, Frankie Luvu. I mean, this guy's something else. He's got 40 tackles. He does a lot of things. How many guys do you know in the NFL right now that can play inside linebacker, read their keys, play zone and man coverage, and then come on the line of scrimmage and be one of the key pass rushers in a 2-minute drill. Luvu's got 2 sacks. They're going to need an impact splash game from him. He's the guy, he and Wagner, that make the big plays in this defense. They're going to blitz, trust me. And Kansas City's got to know they're blitzing and be ready for some key pickups. The problem I have with the Commanders is in their secondary. They've just given up too many big explosive plays. Last week, CeeDee Lamb ran a square in, and Lattimore and Quan Martin ran into each other. And Lamb went in there for 74 yards, and he was having a good time going in there at the end. Boy, it would piss me off if we gave up a touchdown like that. We got to make them earn it. But right now, Quan Martin is the free safety. He's number 20. He's a good player, but he's had some problems on the back end, whether it's communication, taking bad angles. There have been issues back there. The other safety we talked about is Jeremy Reeves. He's made some tackles. He's good down low. He's good in the box. But again, it's the coverage and the angles that they take on the back end that are a big concern. They brought in Darnell Savage, the ex-Jaguar, ex-Packer. He had a missed tackle last week. When you're a free safety, you got to be an eraser tackler. You got to make some tough one-on-one tackles. They got to do a better job. Perhaps we see more of number 35, Percy Butler. The Commanders got to do something. They'll use 3 safeties at a time in their dime package. You'll see Butler, Reeves, and you'll see Quan Martin and perhaps Savage. But these 4 guys got to play a hell of a lot better because they got to deal with Travis Kelce. You know, Kelce, he came to camp. He looks slimmer. He looks like he's in better shape. He's twitchier, man. I mean, he really looks good. 31 catches, 375 yards, 12.1 yards a catch. When I coached Jerry Rice, Jerry told me, hey, every year I come to training camp, I lose 1 pound. It's harder when you get older because, you know, you get heavier. You just have a natural tendency. Jerry Rice lost 1 pound every year he went to training camp after he was 33 or 34 years old. No shit. And I got a feeling Kelce did something similar to that because he's getting out of his breaks. He made 4 guys miss in 1 game against Detroit. Wow! I don't think he made 4 guys miss the whole year. 2 years ago. I mean, it really is a credit to him. And he's dangerous. And Noah Gray, I keep saying it every week. You better watch out for him. Number 83, Gray, is a hell of a player. He had one of those bluff and goes last week on a quick screen for about a 30-yard gain. He's a good blocker. He's very crafty. And he has surprising speed. Then the matchups on the outside. Question is, where is Rashee Rice going to be? Number 4. Rashee Rice, he is the go-to guy. You know, last week he ran 16 routes when he played against the Raiders. How many times do you think he was targeted? 10. 10 out of 16. So you know Mahomes is looking for Rashee Rice. He had 2 touchdowns last week. One on a little flip on a jet sweep and one on a fly stop that was a thing of beauty. I said, put that on a reel too. Rashee Rice can run some really good routes. And he's a live wire. I went and watched the Chiefs practice. This guy loves to practice. He brings them energy and juice. And man, has Mahomes got a lot of confidence in him. And he's going to get in the slot. And Mike Sainristil still, who has really had some issues in the slot. I mean, the amount of yardage after the catch that has come in this position against Washington is alarming. They got to do a much better job. Sainristil still's tough. He has 2 interceptions, the only 2 for the Commanders, but he's going to have to know where his help is and play the game of the year. On the outside is Hollywood Brown, number 5, only averaging 9.9 yards a catch. He does lead the team with 32 grabs, but he has 4 touchdowns. He can get open in the red zone, man. He can straighten you up, stick you, and take you. The guy's a crafty route runner. They also use Tyquan Thornton. He's got 14 catches, 311 yards. And they're going to strategically get Thornton deep. When 80's in a game, they're going downtown. When Brashard Smith is in the game, watch the screen. They do have a couple things I'm looking for. But Trey Amos is the rookie. He's over there, number 23. I like Amos in coverage. He did not do a very good job tackling last week. And I'm telling you, that one of the things the Chiefs do great is run with the ball after they catch it. He's a mature, savvy, bump and run specialist. I'd like to see him play more press coverage, but Amos has got to do a better job getting guys on the ground. The other side, surprisingly, has been very disappointing. They made the trade last year with the Saints to get Marshon Lattimore, and so far Lattimore has struggled. He lines up on his right, so he'll be on the left side of the Chiefs. Hell, he's been targeted 30 times. He's been targeted more than a rookie. That should tell you something. Last week he had 2 pass interference penalties. He got beat on a 50-50 ball for a 44-yard gain, and he missed a tackle. Marshon Lattimore is supposed to be one of the premier corners in football. It hasn't happened yet. They need him to get out of his funk and play his ass off in prime time. He's capable of it. And Xavier Worthy, who's been awful quiet the last 3 weeks. You know, Worthy has only 11 catches for 97 yards in the last 3 weeks. So who's it going to be? Is it going to be the Washington Commanders secondary that gets it together and plays the game of the year against the Chiefs? Or is it going to be the Chiefs with a case of whoop ass? Come on! I can't wait to see. Okay, this Commander offense against the Kansas City Chief defense should be interesting. Cliff Kingsbury, offensive coordinator of the Commanders, against Steve Spagnuolo, the veteran defensive coordinator of the Chiefs. You know, Washington on offense, they've had a lot of issues. They made major changes on the offensive line, and they also had major injuries to the skill people. Jaden Daniels, their star quarterback, rookie of the year, out of this game. Austin Eckler, great third down back, good back in any situation, out for the year. They've been missing Noah Brown for most of this season. Noah Brown did a lot of good things for this offense last year. And Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel have missed time. Thankfully, they get those 2 wide receivers back for this game because they're going to need them. The Commanders did not look good on offense last week. This is a team offensively that took great care of the ball last year. Right now, they've turned it over 8 times. And all the change at feature back, offensive tackle, all the change at skill positions might have something to do with that. But they had too many pre-snap penalties last week, too many penalties, period. The new quarterback, Marcus Mariota, is going to have to come in here and deal with a lot of noise from this Arrowhead crowd. God! And they got to deal with multiple fronts and the stemming of fronts, because these Chiefs are going to line up like this, and then somebody's going to make a move call, and all 4 defensive linemen will move to another position. So they got to do a better job eliminating pre-snap penalties. They struggled, to me, last week against the Cowboys big time picking up blitzes. Rodriguez missed one. I thought Bill missed one in the backfield. They didn't see a hot receiver a couple times. It was ugly. And I thought the Cowboys did a nice job bringing pressure off the edge and blitzing inside linebackers. One of them forced an interception by Marcus Mariota. They got to do a better job recognizing dogs, stingers, and nails. A stinger is a safety blitz. A nickel blitz is a nail. Somebody's got to communicate, Jake. Hey. Communicate the nail. What's a stinger, for crying out loud? They got to do a better job picking it up. Running backs and offensive line. Hell, I even saw their tight end, Bates, number 87, miss a stinger off the edge in pass protection. They got to block movement better. You know, last week the Cowboys got into a load front. They put 3 defensive linemen on one side of the center. They forced the center to go that way with the guard and the tackle. They covered the backside guard with a linebacker, and they had a defensive end. But they kept stunting over here. They stunted the D-line, and all this movement gave the offensive line of the Commanders some problems. So they got to do a much better job blocking movement, recognizing stingers and nails, and handling some of the alternate fronts that Steve Spagnuolo is going to give them. Marcus Mariota, I love him because I know him. I know he's a badass. He's got a lot of poise, courage, and leadership. He's been through a lot in his career. And they got to be careful. I think the Kansas City Chiefs have to be careful with Mariota because I'm telling you, man, this guy's on a mission to prove I am still a badass Heisman Trophy winner out of Oregon. So watch out. He's just going to go out there and be himself. He's going to keep the ball on the zone read. He can scramble, and he can throw the ball good enough to hurt you. The run game is second in the league. And I look at the stats and I start looking at the runs. A lot of the rushing offense in Washington has come from the quarterback. Mariota and Daniels, I'm not saying it doesn't make the run game legitimate, but they have struggled running the ball with the running backs using conventional runs. Bill has 30 carries for 94 yards lately. He hasn't had a lot of big runs since the Charger game a few weeks ago. I really believe to win this game, Washington has got to get this running game going. They got to get it from their running backs. They got to hand the ball to Deebo Samuels. They've got to hit a couple RPOs. They got to convert on some third downs. They need some time of possession, and they need Marcus Mariota to use his legs and run for some first downs as well. They need to force the Chiefs to play some single high defenses so we can get Terry McLaurin in the game. When in doubt, we need to get McLaurin going. This guy's got 10 catches for 149 yards this year. I mean, I don't even think he has a touchdown. This is the most feared deep ball receiver in football. So I think we run the ball, we play action, and we take some shots. And we get McLaurin a couple 50-50 balls early in this game to get everybody's attention. Washington has been really good in the red zone. They haven't been down in the red zone enough, but the 18 times I've seen Washington in the red zone, 14 touchdowns, man. That's the second best touchdown rate in the NFL, right behind Philadelphia. The reason they don't get down in the red zone enough is their third down offense has not been good enough. They're only converting 36% of their third downs, which is 24th in the league. They've got to do a much better job staying out of third and long with these ridiculous penalties. They got to be ready to convert some of these third downs with improved pass protection and with the return of Deebo and McLaurin. Let's get some open looks for Mariota. Last year, Washington went for it 23 times, and they converted 20. That's an NFL record, man. 87%. No one's ever done that before. This year, they're just 5 of 9, so they haven't made the critical plays like they did a season ago. Let's keep an eye on Terry McLaurin, number 17. What is his conditioning like? I know these are world-class athletes, but how much can he play? How much can we go to him? We used to go practice. We have a passing period. I had Tim Brown and Jerry Rice on the same team. They'd run a route. I say, hey, get your ass back in here so we can run the next play. Then they'd run another route. Hey, hurry up, come back here. I'd be counting it down. It's one thing to run deep. Can you run back to the huddle and run it again and again and again? Is your football conditioning where it needs to be? You got to keep an eye on that with any veteran receiver that's missed a lot of time. Let's remember, McLaurin held out at training camp. He held out. He didn't practice during camp, man. Then he got the 3-year, $96 million deal. Then he got hurt. So he's missed a lot of practice time. Are you guys with me? Yep. Practice? Yeah, practice. I'm anxious to see what his conditioning level is. I'm sure he is too. All right, the Kansas City Chiefs defense. You know, Steve Spagnuolo gets a lot of credit, and justifiably so. He does a hell of a job. But I just want to point out, when I went out and visited the Chiefs, I was lucky. Andy Reid said, hey, come out and stay a few days. And I did. I got to sit in on some of these meetings. They are very impressive. They also have Joe Cullen, defensive line coach. What a hell of a coach this guy is. And then you look at Brandon Daly, the linebacker coach. I mean, these guys are detailed, man. I mean, their notes, their meetings, the way they project themselves, the way they bring stuff to these players. They got this guy, Rod Wilson. He coaches the outside linebackers. And then this guy, Dave Merritt. We're going to get a picture of him so you can see him. He coaches the secondary. What a hell of a job he does, man. These guys play their ass off, man. And it's the coaching staff, it's the relationship they have with these players, and it's the amount of work they can get done in a short period of time that really fires me up. I do think Steve Spagnuolo and his staff are looking at that cowboy film against the Commanders, and they're saying, hey, these inside linebacker dogs are giving them problems. Hey, the nails and the stingers. I would be shocked if you don't see Bolton, number 32, their inside backer, blitz 8 times. Tranquil, their other linebackers, got 2 sacks. Let's heat them up. Let's see if Rodriguez, let's see if Bill, let's see if McNichols can pick up some blitzes. And let's bring some heat off the edge, because that's what Spags does. And then let's act like we're blitzing and let's not. But let's do a good job taking what the Cowboys did extremely well. Load fronts, stunt the fronts, blitz these guys and see if they've got their shit corrected. That's what I would do. Spags and the Chiefs play a lot of different packages. They are a 4-3 base defense with Tranquil, Bolton, and Leo Chenal as their 3 linebackers. They'll play a nickel package with number 22, Trent McDuffie. He'll come inside and be one of the best nickels in the NFL. Then they'll play a big nickel package and leave McDuffie outside. They'll put Jamari Connor, number 27, in there and play with 3 safeties. And then they have a dime package where they'll just keep Bolton on the field. 4 down linemen and Bolton, and they'll use 6 defensive backs. Hicks, Connor, and Cook will be the safeties. You'll see the rookie Noel Williams, Trent McDuffie, and Jalen Watson. So they got base, nickel, big nickel, dime. They got it all, and they're just like Andy Reid on offense. They'll bring traffic in and out of the lineup. They have some role players that can do some things extremely well. They can play a lot of coverage as well, too. Like, you look at the Chiefs. They don't play as much cover 1 as they did in the past. Cover 1 is like man-to-man with the free safety deep. But when they do play it, 18% of the time, quarterbacks are completing 45% of their passes and 4.3 yards of play. They're effective. Then when they play cover 2, it might not be a conventional Tampa 2. They might have a different run-through player, but 3 interceptions when they play Tampa 2. They know how to key the quarterback, break on the ball, and they get a legitimate rush. They can play multiple coverages well. They're not just spinning a dial hoping it works. It all starts with their run defense. They don't give up big runs, and they don't give up 100-yard days to running backs. I mean, guys don't come into Kansas City and play the Chiefs and pad their stats. They get their asses padded, you know what I mean? I mean, Kansas City hadn't given up a 100-yard back since 2023, and that was Lamar Jackson on some scramble runs. So running backs have had a hard time getting started, and I think that's what unlocks the Chiefs' pass rush. When you look at the pressure rate, they got all these stats right now. I like to get them and look at them. Kansas City, with a 4-man rush, has a 35% pressure rate. That's second in the NFL. So what you need to understand is Steve Spagnuolo doesn't really have to blitz to get pressure. I think that's what Washington's going to have to do on defense. But with Chris Jones and George Karlaftis, they can really afford to rush forward. They're getting adequate pressure. The Chief defense does a great job of communicating. Watch them. Watch 32 Bolton and 23 Tranquil. And number 6 Cook. As soon as the offense comes out, there's a lot of communication. A lot of times you'll see the offense check and the defense will check. They got a lot of confidence in their veteran players. They're going to let the Chiefs audible out of certain blitzes into certain coverages when they see the need to. It's really cool. They make great adjustments. You might get them early in the game on a play, but it's hard to get them again on the same thing twice. I love that part of it. And I love the effort that they play with. I know Chris Jones, people got on his ass a couple weeks ago, rightfully so, for that play against Jacksonville. What do you think Chris Jones did the last 2 weeks? Holy shit, man, he got the message. These guys play hard and they play together. Let's take a look at the matchups. This is an offensive line. I think you could see some changes. Laramie Tunsil is going to be the left tackle. He's still a very good pass protector. But at left guard, Chris Paul, number 75, I think he struggled last week. I think he blew a protection. I think he missed a couple assignments in the running game. I wouldn't be surprised if you see the ex-Kansas City Chief, Nick Algretti, who started at that position last year. Paul did not play as good, I think, as he is expected to play. There could be some new bodies in here at left guard. The center, Tyler Biadasz, he's a hell of a player. I think we said that the last time. He and Creed Humphrey give us 2 of the best centers in all of football. Biadasz can really play. At right guard, we welcome back Sam Cosmi. Cosmi hurt that knee in the playoffs, and it was a very serious injury. He battled back and got the play last week against the Cowboys. I am told he is sore, and his status is in question. But Cosmi, he needs to fight through this and get back to himself Washington desperately needs him at right guard. If he can't go, Andrew Wiley, another ex-Kansas City Chief, will go in there and play right guard as he did earlier this season. And to me, right tackle Josh Connerly, I know he's a first-round pick. Everybody's excited about him. He is really struggling, man. He had a couple false starts. He had a holding penalty. He got run over. He got beat for a sack. I really think Connerly is struggling. If I were Kansas City, he'd get a steady diet of George Karlaftis. I'd put Chris Jones over there to power rush him. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Andrew Wiley or Brandon Coleman playing right tackle. You know, Connerly is a rookie. The game looked awful big for him last week. Don't be surprised if there's a new body in there at left guard or right tackle. Those two men got to play better for Washington. The D-line of the Kansas City Chiefs, Karlaftis, number 56. I love him more on the right side. Don't get me wrong, I love him, period. He leads the team in sacks with 3.5. He leads the team in pressures. Hell, his pressure rate is number 2 in the NFL. George Karlaftis is a badass. You can see why they gave him the new contract. The other guy's Chris Jones. He's only got a couple sacks. Last week, you felt his factor grade. I mean, they hold him, then he gets a sack. Chris Jones is the setup man. I mean, you got to double him. You got to put people on Jones and single some other guys. And even so, he'll get penetration and he'll set other people up for sacks. Guys like Charles Omenihu, number 90, he's coming alive. He had a serious injury a couple years ago. He's got 2 sacks. Omenihu can play inside or out. Number 90 is a good player. And I'm going to keep calling on Mike Dan at number 51. He's had some injuries. He's starting to get his feet underneath him again. I think Dan is going to be one of the keys for the Chiefs down the stretch. Come on, Mike! But he and Omenihu are solid players. They lost a defensive tackle last week, their rookie from Tennessee, Omar Norman Lott. And he was coming on as a pass rusher. I'm concerned about the depth of the defensive tackle position. Chris Jones is a great player, but sometimes they like him to go outside and rush on the edge. Derek Noddy, number 92, more of a run defender. Jerry Tillery, he's going to have to step up. He was a Minnesota Viking last year. They're going to need some of these guys to play more snaps. I would not be surprised if Brett Veach and Andy Reid, the general manager, head coach, don't go out and make a trade before the deadline. They got to replace Omar Norman Lott. They need another player inside. But whoever it is, they got to go after the left guard and the right tackle of the Washington Commanders. You like that, Jake? Washington's using a lot of tight ends. We all know Zach Ertz because he gets the catches. He's got 23 grabs, 229 and 4 touchdowns. He is a receiving tight end, the veteran, the former Philadelphia Eagle, Arizona Cardinal. But when it comes to run blocking, they use number 87, John Bates. 25 snaps a game, 87. He can block the C gap, man, the gap between the tackle and the tight end. He can pass protect. He can cross sift. He can pull on counters. He's a good player. He just has very little stats, only 2 catches. They also used a second-round pick to take Ben Sinnott out of Kansas State. I mean, they got 2 other tight ends that rarely see the ball. Sinnott rarely plays. They're using number 73, Trent Scott. He's an offensive tackle. They're using him as a tight end to give them some girth, you know. I don't understand it. But they're using him instead of Sinnott and Bates, trying to get some big bodies on the field for their 13 personnel. And these tight ends are going to have to see who the safeties are, how many safeties there are for the Kansas City Chiefs. Brian Cook, number 6, very good player. He's a leader on this Chiefs defense. They don't want him to come off the field. The strong safety in the base is going to be Chamari Connor. In the nickel, he'll come down low and play. He might be the most valuable Kansas City Chief that doesn't get enough credit. He's a Gruden grinder. Connor, he's played 362 snaps. He's second on the team with 53 tackles. Plays strong safety and nickel. He's a badass. And if Dave Tobe needs him to cover a kick, he'll cover a kick. When they go to nickel, they'll bring in number 21, Jaden Hicks. He's from Washington State. He can play dime linebacker or he can play on the deep half. Hicks is an ascending player. They do a nice job. The matchups on the outside, I love the Chiefs' corners. Everybody knows Trent McDuffie. He's only given up a 71% QB rating. He's got 1 interception. This guy's a great player. He can play in the nickel or he can play right corner or left corner. The corner nobody talks about is this Jalen Watson. They threw a bubble screen, the Raiders did last week. It was rated R. You didn't want to see what Watson did. Kapow, man! This guy fires me up, man. He's only given up a 60.9 QBR. The guy's got a sack, he's got a pick, and he has got a bunch of badass whoop-ass in his trunk. This guy's a hell of a player. Watson, McDuffie, excellent players. When Trent goes inside, they bring in the rookie Noel Williams, 3rd-round pick out of Cal. He's got some good stuff. He missed a tackle last week in the second half. I'm sure Coach Merritt was on his ass about that. Gifted secondary, versatile group. And when they break the huddle, trust me, they're going to be looking for Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin, he is a hell of a player, man. He wears number 17. It's time for him to rescue this Washington football team. All it takes is 1 or 2 pops, and Terry can change the course of this game. They also get Deebo Samuel back. He leads the team with 34 catches. He's had a bad heel. They're going to throw him quick screens. They'll put him in motion behind the quarterback. Hell, you see the touchdown run he had in the opening game against the Giants? You can hand him the ball, throw him the ball, get him the ball in the kick return game. These 2 receivers can give anybody problems. The 3rd receiver, I don't know who it's going to be. I think it's going to be Jalen Lane, the rookie out of Virginia Tech. I think this kid's coming on, man. He had a punt return for a touchdown against the Raiders, 10 catches, 142 yards. Jalen Lane, number 83, is a really good player. And Luke McCaffrey, don't forget him. Christian McCaffrey's brother has 8 grabs, 179 yards, 3 touchdowns. Sneaky deep speed. So they have some depth, some versatility. And lastly, it's the running backs of the Commanders. I told you in the cut-in at the beginning, top of mind, John Riggins had a touchdown run in 1983 to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Will it be Bill? Bill has become the go-to back of the Commanders. 73 carries, 377 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He does have 2 fumbles. They don't use their backs much in the passing game, but you got to keep an eye on this young back, number 22, in a big moment. This could be a big opportunity for him. The other 2 backs, Jeremy McNichols. I like McNichols in the passing game. He can really be a factor after the catch. And Rodriguez has 26 carries, 117 yards. He wears number 36. But the strength of the Chiefs' defense after Jones and Karlaftis are these 3 linebackers. Bolton leads the team with 55 tackles. He wears number 32. He's been on the field 97% of the time. I watched him against the Ravens. He's a good blitzer. I'd be shocked if you don't see him fire his gun 3 or 4 times. Drew Tranquill playing 83% of the plays. He's got 31 tackles and 2 sacks. And really, Leo Chenal, number 54, a Gruden grinder. We even sent Leo a t-shirt. You know, he's playing 57% of the time. He's in the last year of his rookie contract. That left-handed interception turned the season around against the Baltimore Ravens. He's got a half a sack. He's a hell of a special teams player. This is going to be a rich man. You'll see. He's going to get a ton of money next year. I'm going to try to be his agent. The Chiefs got to beware of Samuel. They got to beware of Terry McLaurin and watch out for Mariota, because this is the kind of game that some of these backup quarterbacks that have been waiting for these chances in prime time, they cash in on. Let's go. Okay, well, you got to pick somebody. I love Marcus Mariota. I got to coach him, you know, but I'm taking the Chiefs. The Chiefs have scored over 28 points or more 4 straight weeks. Chiefs 33, Commanders 17. Ah!